Today is new gun day, it's a day to celebrate. Heading out to the range, no time to waste. Gun in my hand, feel the power. Freedom at my fingertips like the powder. Promises whispered, but can't be delivered. Not every gun will be the next grail in the collection. Flash and steel dreams or polymer fails. Some will fall to their knees while others prevail. Expectations set high based on price or the brand, but you never really know till that gun's in your hand. Will it be reliable or fall on its face? Is it accurate? Can it keep up the pace? Is it everything you wished for, or are you a fool expecting too much for the price you paid for this tool? Lofty dreams, they rise and they fall. Promises made but turn out to be false.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Jim. Thank you so much for joining me as always. Today we're going to be getting into the shots fired version of the Fusion Firearms Ermox Defense XP Pro video. Now, the initial video that I did on this was my standard desk pop video, which, as hopefully you guys are coming to learn now, is my tabletop review portion, and sometimes initial thoughts / unboxing. And the shots fired is when I come back after I've actually shot the gun to report back my feelings on it and tell you how it performed. And whenever possible, include as much range footage as possible so that you can see the guns in action. Last week, I had the opportunity to present my desk pop video on the new XP Pro pistol and discuss the background of the brands involved, the details of the build, and share some Q&A that I had with Tyler Serva from Fusion Firearms. I concluded by expressing my somewhat lukewarm opinion of the gun overall. While it possesses numerous high-quality features that justify its exceptionally low price, certain areas of execution occasionally leaving me feel a bit underwhelmed. However, the only way to truly assess the gun's performance is through actual performance, and that is through actual shooting. Therefore, I proceeded with my evaluation to go into the range. Now, the first thing I want to discuss is reliability during break-in. I was pleasantly surprised by the gun's reliability during the break-in period. It's important to note that this is not a match-fit gunsmith hand-lapped pistol. So the tolerances are not exceedingly tight, which would honestly typically result in a more challenging break-in. The tighter the tolerances, the more things have to break in to mate the components together and wear everything in equally. And during that time, you can expect to have some hiccups. Zero here. Now, the other thing is I have never encountered any reliable aftermarket Glock magazines. What I have right here is one of my many Glock 17 magazines. These are factory. They're marked Glock here and marked Glock on the base pad. What I've got here is one of the supplied magazines from Fusion and Ermox. Plain there, not marked. The ones included with this gun are exceptionally reliable. I would actually consider carrying them in the gun until I've been proven otherwise. They've performed flawlessly, and that is the biggest surprise of everything to me. To date, I haven't experienced any glitches or singular malfunctions after approximately 250 rounds. Now, that's not a lot of rounds through this. I want to make that very, very clear. You'll hear some people talk about 200, 300, 500 rounds is what they need to run through a gun before they consider it safe, before they'll carry it. For me, break-in is between 500 and 1,000 rounds. If it hasn't had at least 500 through it, there's no way in the world I would ever consider it for carry, no matter what it is. And at 1,000 rounds with 0 malfunctions, then I feel a bit more secure. That doesn't mean it's going to be flawless throughout its entire service life. It just means you're less likely to have those issues. Because if you're going to have issues, you're going to have them within the first 1,000 rounds. And during that time, you're hopefully feeding them a lot of different ammunition, from grain weight to the different brands and the different types, and flip-flopping back and forth between range ammo and defensive ammo. You really want to see that it's going to cycle everything and do so reliably. Now, regrettably, I do not have a substantial amount of range footage to share, as my state was severely affected by the severe winter storms. Consequently, I was restricted to shooting at an indoor range this time around, which proved to be rather monotonous and challenging to set up appropriate camera angles. Additionally, there were different rules and regulations because it's an indoor range regarding rapid fire, which further limited my options. But despite these constraints, I managed to conduct my evaluation after zeroing my new red dot sight, which is the clownishly oversized for this size gun Holosun 507 comp. I was able to focus on the gun's performance. So I spent maybe 15 minutes zeroing in the red dot, and that's only because this was exceptionally difficult to zero. I don't know why, but I basically have the elevation bottomed out. I have that dot as far down as it will go, and it's still shooting about an inch too low at 10 yards. It's ridiculous. So what I'm probably going to do is try a couple of different red dots on this gun. There's something about this that's just, it's not working quite right. I was able to obviously compensate mentally for that very small offset. And I don't think it's the mechanical offset between the optic window and the bore. I don't think that it's that great that it's going to shoot an inch low at 10 yards. I think that's a bit ridiculous. If I was at 3 yards, possibly, yes, that mechanical offset is going to come more into play. But at 10 yards, no. So that's how that went. And once I got it zeroed in, I got to spend some time just doing different types of shooting that I wanted to do. The bullets generally went where I wanted, but the accuracy was not comparable to my other firearms. Now, I suspect that this might be a personal issue, whether it was me being incompatible with this gun for some reason, or I was having an off day, or maybe I was just a bit rattled because of the experience I had trying to get this dot zeroed. So I pulled out my itty bitty teeny tiny little P365 that I had with me and shot a group that was more typical of what I normally shoot. So once I realized, okay, it's not me, it's probably just me and this particular gun, I went back to the XP Pro and the groups opened up again, confirming that the issue was still somehow in how I shoot this one gun. I did check the optic and it's still rock solid. There's no movement, screws aren't loose, everything is still the way I set it, so that's not it. The most significant aspect of my evaluation, however, is that the gun performed reliably. The trigger performs exceptionally well under fire. Providing both slow fire accuracy and reliable, fast follow-up shots. However, the two unique issues that I encountered with this gun stem from the grip and the slide lock lever. The grip's design, characterized by its pronounced flare toward the base, results in an uncomfortable grip. The combination of the two distinctly different grip angles, 17.5 and 22 degrees front and back, narrows the grip up here where it meets up to the frame, and then it gets consistently wider down toward the magwell opening. And that creates a really unnatural shape. Now, I mean, I knew that it did that. I knew that it had those two different angles, but I didn't expect it to change how I shot. Take a look at the footage here and look at how goofy my support hand has to support this gun. The way that I have to spread my fingers to get it around my fist of my primary hand. And this grip issue is exacerbated by the grip's excessive smoothness that lacks any tactile grip. There is no tactility to this whatsoever. There is no grip. It is smooth as hell. So for a gun that's this jumpy, which we'll discuss later, it really needs to have a texture that will allow you to lock in, especially if you're gonna flare this grip and give me this much real estate to purchase with my support hand. I need that to be useful, because if you notice in the footage, you can actually see the gun moving within my grip. It's not my wrists breaking, it's the gun moving within my grip. And I'm not saying I've got some kind of crazy iron grip and crazy iron wrists and blaming it 100% on the gun. No, but you can see it moving within my grip. And I'm sure I don't look like that with my other guns that I'm shooting. Now, the second part of this is the slide lock lever. Now, while I appreciate its extended reach, look how far back it comes. It causes a lot of discomfort during shooting due to its position relative to the grip. Here's what happens. When I'm up here, there are two things that are happening. I have swept this down, so that is digging in to my hand here, and then this is digging into my hand up here. So I have it from both directions. And it's awful. It truly is awful. Now, as a knife maker, I'm capable of modifying the lever's shapes to alleviate this issue. It would require Fusion to anodize it back to the black to match the gun's finish, and then re-hard chrome this, because I don't have that kind of equipment. I'm not set up to do hard anodizing or hard chroming. And I'm very hesitant to have such a large portion of this material exposed. I really want it to be blacked out. I want it to be protected from the elements, sweat, all that kind of good stuff, and keep it from rusting. So I'm going to reach out to Fusion Firearms and ask them, hey, if I grind these down, and I'm not doing a hack job, I'm actually doing it professionally. If I grind these down, can you resurface, can you recoat these so that I don't have any issues in the future? And if they agree to it, I'm going to do that. I'll have no problems whatsoever. Like I said, I really like how short this is because I have XL sized hands, but I don't have very long thumbs. So I can actually reach that slide release without having to really turn that gun sideways in my hand. And I like having a thumb safety that reaches out that I can rest my thumb on while I'm shooting. It helps me to have a little more control over the gun because I'm using that sort of as a gas pedal. Now, the combination of these factors, both the crazy grip angle here and the way these levers are digging into my hand, are forcing me to alter my grip technique. And I'm absolutely unwilling to do that. You'll see in those shots, I think I took a few shots from the left-hand side so you can actually see that I'm not gripping like this, that I'm kind of like this now. So instead of being up here, thumb back here, thumb up here, and both thumbs forward, I'm kind of down like this. I have to be, because I don't want to engage these two levers because it hurts after a while. And I'm trying to figure out a way to have my support hand like this instead of this goofy way. So I'm having to bypass both of these issues and alter my grip completely. And the reason why I'm not willing to do that is because I believe if I modify my grip for only one single gun, it could potentially lead to a habit that negatively impacts my performance with my other firearms. Because everything else, I shoot the exact same way from gun to gun to gun to gun. My hand drops into a certain place on both sides of the gun, and that's my grip. To have to do this stuff changes all that. Now, I'll be honest with you, these issues have significantly diminished the enjoyment of using this gun. For the first time since borrowing a 500 Magnum, I found myself eagerly anticipating the end of my ammunition supply that day and ending my shooting session. This unexpected reaction was unpleasant and left me with a sense of dissatisfaction. I can't remember how long ago that was I shot that 500 Magnum. But after about 3 cylinders worth, I was like, yeah, I'm done. There's no enjoyment to that. I used to love big bore guns. I don't see why somebody would make a whole range session out of that monster. It's just not pleasurable. It's not fun to shoot. And the way I was getting torn up in my hand because of these two levers, it was unpleasant to shoot. I wanted my range session to end. And I hate that. That is the worst feeling because it's confusing. I'm here doing what I truly love doing. And I don't want to do it. I want to pack up and go home. Well, that's just terrible. Now let's revisit some of the features that I highlighted in the Despop review. You have a match grade barrel that is flush cut and target crowned. Everything on this entire gun except for the mag release is all machined from bar stock steel and aluminum with no metal injection molded parts, not a single one. The only reason that the mag release isn't is because that has to be made of polymer so it doesn't tear up the polymer of the Glock mags. So the frame is steel. The slide is steel. Your grip module is 7075 aluminum, which is a level up from other brands that are even double this price that are using a polymer one. And that's not to say polymer is bad. It's just that when you're categorizing 2011 style guns, there is a hierarchy. And up toward the top are ones that have aluminum grip modules. And because of that, those are all the expensive ones. So to see one that's just under $1,200, that's not a polymer grip module, is actually a really, really big deal. Again, it takes Glock 17 mags. It has what is close to a 1911 grip angle because of that 17.5 grip angle up front. And it is optics ready with 2 provided plates in the package. And again, I have to give credit where credit is due, is everybody seems to want to milk 2011 owners for every single penny. They charge you an exorbitant amount of money for their product. Then they say, hey, we're making a big old cutout here so you can put your big old fancy red dot on there. But whoa, partner, you're going to have to mail this thing to us or go to our website after you've bought this and pay us more money and we'll send you a plate. So sure, I can spend $1,200 on this and put 98% of all the optics that are available, full-size optics that are available in the world, on my gun the day that I buy it. Or I can spend $2,500, $3,000, $4,500 on their gun, have to go home, go to their website, and pay $130 or more for an optics plate that you'll get roughly a week later with shipping time. How ridiculous is that? And that's why this is a wonderful value proposition. It's already lower in price than comparable guns. I will say this will not compete with a Staccato. It will not compete even close to a Platypus, because I put a Platypus above a Staccato. And it's not quite going to compete with the OA Defense 2311. I think that this is putting you in the same realm as the Apollo 11 Compact. Probably very close to the Kimber, KD9SC? Forgive me if I had the letters and numbers jumbled up there. I'll put it up on the screen, correct it if I made a mistake. K9SDC? Oh, hell, man, I don't remember. This is a really, really, really nicely made gun, but it's made to be a budget gun. It is leagues above the TSOS. I believe it's probably on par with or a little bit better than the Mac 9, which I understand is made by TSOS. And it's, from all the feedback that we're seeing from owners, this seems to be better than the Prodigies, and it's less money. So I think there is definitely a valid reason to have this on the market. And I think there are going to be a lot of people that are going to enjoy it. My opinion is, though, there was no reason to make it in a 4-inch if it was going to be this heavy. You make it in a 4-inch so that it could be carried and be a home defense gun, and also a potential match gun. But primary focus on a 4-inch is going to be carry. They should have just made it a 4 1/4 inch or a 5-inch, because it's just too heavy to be a comfortable everyday carry. Now, as I mentioned in my previous video, I carry big guns, and sometimes I'll carry a heavy gun. But I'm not going to overly burden myself and compromise when I'm not getting an additional degree of performance by doing so. My Dan Wesson DWX, the hybrid between the CZ75 and a 1911, outshoots this gun, is significantly lighter than this gun, and it's smaller and more compact than this gun. So yeah, that's the one I'm going to reach for over this for carry. And to put the final nail in the coffin, I expected, because of all that weight, that this would be super stable when I was shooting it. But it's not. It's very, very jumpy for its size and weight. I have guns that are significantly smaller, shooting 9mm, that have less muzzle jump. It's nuts. Now, there's not a lot of recoil to it. It's absorbing the recoil really well because of its size and because of how much you're able to get both hands on this super wide grip. You're absorbing a lot of that recoil easily, but it's a very jumpy gun. I wish I could have avoided the Arctic weather and gone to it to do this outdoors, because I could have seen what target transitions were like. I'm afraid to see what target transitions are like with this, because it's going to be hard to control. So my plan, since I've already confirmed with them that yes, there is going to be a ported bull barrel to match these cuts in the slide, I'm going to buy one of those barrels. I'm going to drop it in here, fire it, see what it's like. If it tames it down enough where it feels the way I expect it to, then I'll be perfectly happy. If it doesn't, it's going to go over to Vinny, where my last few guns have gone, over at Monsoon Tactical, and we'll do a Lucky Sevens port. Add 7 more holes and see if that changes anything. But I hate doing that if I've got a specialty finish like hard chroming, because he offers Cerakote. Well, once he's cut this slide, I'm not leaving it raw. And I would prefer not doing Cerakote when I have a premium hard coat. I'd want to stick with the hard chrome. So that'll be a tough decision. But as it stands, I have other guns that are lighter weight, easier to carry, and fire much more controllably than this does. And again, going back to that Dan Wesson DWX Compact, it's not ported, it doesn't have anything else, and it's much more controllable than this is. So crazy. Now, riddle me this. Unlike an M&P, this gun does not have a witness hole back here at the rear of the barrel hood to use as a loaded chamber indicator, but somehow it shoots gases, or more like blows a massive load and spews all over the front glass of the red dot like a porn star that hasn't worked in over a month. How? I literally watched it jizz all over the glass in front of me. It wasn't like it was a subtle thing that just built up shot after shot over the session. It was an explosion of gases all at once in one shot, and combined with the factory oil, which they do oil this up really, really well, just stuck to the front glass. And it was almost like I was practicing occluded drills as a bonus. I don't understand. It can't be that it's coming out of battery so fast that it's shooting that much of the gases straight up into the optic. I mean, it's like there's a hole or a gap right there. And as soon as that shot goes off, boom, it's coating the entire front of the glass. I had to spend a little bit of time cleaning it with alcohol, but I got it clean. But that didn't help me when I was on the range that day. It was almost unusable. One shot. It was ridiculous. I've got red dots on almost everything I own. I've never had an issue like that before, ever. Nuts. So there's that. So those are all of my thoughts on the XP Pro. Put them all together, run them through your mind, and use those in your decision-making process as one point of data. There are a lot of people now that have reviewed this. Take a little bit from everybody, see what aligns with your wants and needs, and see what doesn't align. See what things any of us are nitpicking, and see if those are things that are a no-go for you. And then listen to your gut. Because sure, this is a really good value. It ain't $2,000. It ain't $2,500. It ain't $3,000. This is a good value. However, there are absolute compromises when you're buying into this gun. That being said, most of the stuff, I think there's a way around it. But then I sound like a Prodigy owner, don't I? And then it sounds like I'm defending my own purchase here. And that's what's tough when you're not dealing with, like, if this was a sample from the brand, I could just go, there's this, there's this, there's this, there's that. And I don't have to feel like I'm defending the choice that I personally made. But for me, visually, I would love to have a nice royal blue anodized grip module to put on here against the hard chrome. That would look really sick. I'm hoping that becomes available in the near future. I'm going to do the porta barrel for certain. No way around it. Can't wait to do that. I'm going to have to shave down both of these levers just to make it shootable. And then hope that I can have them recoated as factory. That's a very big deal to me. And I'm just going to have to figure out a way to work around this silly, ridiculous grip, the way that it flares this way. And I'm sure over time I'll fall into it. But for right now, it's something that I have to manually adjust to. And it's crazy and it's weird. But other than that, man, you've got a gun that runs fast, runs well, out of the box, no issues, and none of the typical break-in foibles either. None of the, oh, it's going to stovepipe every now and then, or it's going to, it's going to fail to feed at 2/3 lockup because the extractor is too tight. None of that, which, by the way, I do wish I had an external extractor. Why is it internal? Anyway, it's wonderfully reliable. It shoots fast. And there's just a couple of small things that I'd like to correct on it just to make it perfect. And that's my honest thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I hope this gives you a good amount of information to build your decision on. Again, I am merely one data point. Listen to a lot of different people. And if you can, get your hands on one and shoot one first and make up your own mind. But if you are ordering blindly online because there's no other way for you to get one, I totally get it. I understand. I hope that I've given you the information that you needed to make that informed decision. Either way, I'll see you guys on the next video.